Hey, what's up guys? My name is Eris. This is Eris Atelier, where I talk about bag making, bag businesses, and everything in between. So this is like one of my most asked questions. Literally every tutorial I post, I always get asked this question about what type of glue that I use. So I decided to just make one post answering the question. So starting off with the easiest one, I just have all of them in the stack here. So starting off with the easiest one, I have super glue. So apart from like emergency or quick fixes or gluing maybe down broken pieces or accessories, I think super glue is just like my emergency go-to, especially when I don't have to work in like a very large area and I just have to join two pieces. This super glue that you see here that is really watery but dries literally within seconds is actually made of a chemical compound named cyanoacrylate, which is an acrylic resin, and it forms one of the strongest bonds. So that is why when you put it between your hand or when it sticks you to something, it never lets you go. You have to flush with water or do like a ton of other things. So that is the one I use the most for my quick fixes. So these are two that I use, or rather I used to use, or I use once in a while. So the next one is the B7000. It's actually a type of epoxy resin adhesive. It means that it's flexible, and when you put it on a flat surface and it dries, you know how epoxy just works. So if you look at the nozzle, it has a very tiny tip. So you have to put it and it sets, let's say 5 to 12 minutes, but it takes almost 24 hours sometimes to even cure, because you know how epoxy is. I'm just nerding out. So it has, I'm going to show close up. So this is the B7000. So I use this one for, let me say, if I want to attach maybe like studs or basically any tiny decorative thing on a bag. So this is why I say I haven't used it in a while, because I don't really work with those type of accessories again. So again, this could also be for general use, or let's say if you just want to do like a very small area, because you see how small the tube is, you can't really work with this on large areas. So the next one is Uhu. If you see this tube, you don't even have to read it, you know what this is. It's the Uhu all-purpose glue. So I used to use this one when I worked with like paper, or I think sometimes plastics. So I even tried to get like the chemical make of this one, like what is this thing made of. I think even my accessory days when I used to make like Ankara things, like Ankara headbands. So there was a time I used this to actually attach like the, you know, those flat beads, like I wanted to bead the work, so I actually used this. So Uhu works well for small areas too, but I would not advise using this for your large surface works. So I just have this as emergency glues. All right, I'm going to put links down in the description area if you actually want to try out any of these gums. And last but not the least, I saved the best for the last, because this is the one I use. Even by the side of the container, you tell, okay, this is Eris's main gum. The other ones are just warming up the area. Okay, so for those who have asked me 1,000,001 times, that's why I even wore yellow to match with this. Okay, so the one I use the most is contact cement or contact adhesive. I think it's actually the same thing, because some people call it contact cement, and yes, I'm addressing that issue too on the name. Some people call it contact cement, some people call it contact adhesive, but I need you to know, you can even see it is written here, it's contact cement adhesive. So this is just the brand name. Top Bond is the brand name. I'm going to put links to different ones, because even here in Nigeria, most times when you want to buy this, you only get this 3 kg gallons. They don't sell them by liters or ounces. They sell them by weight. I don't know why, but that's just what they do. So this is Top Bond contact cement adhesive, and the active ingredient in it, I think I checked, though, like, is synthetic or natural fibers. So this is the only one that needs special application. For all the other gums I just mentioned, you could just put on one side of your work and join it to the other part that you want to fuse it to. But for this one, it actually requires some practice with it. When you're using contact adhesive or contact cement or any name you call it, but basically they all smell the same. Oh, I can't even say. They all smell the same. They are all the same. So first of all, if you have like two areas you want to fuse together, you actually have to apply this on both areas. So that is the difference with this gum and most of it. I don't know any other adhesive that you have to apply that way. It's even written on the container here. So let me just read it. Oh my god, this is in French. Where is it? I saw the English. Okay, yeah. So let me just read this out from the manufacturers. So, okay, apart from, okay, how to use, ensure that the surfaces to be bonded are clean, dry, and grease-free. Spread an even thin film of adhesive onto both surfaces. You see it said here. Both surfaces to be bonded using a serrated spreader or a brush. Allow both coated surfaces to become dry to touch for 15 minutes or above. Align the surfaces carefully before allowing them to touch each other, since an immovable bond is formed on contact. So that's what it gets its name from, on contact. Okay, once aligned perfectly, press the surfaces together, working from the center outward on sheet materials to exclude air pockets. Exert pressure to ensure overall contact. No clamping is necessary. The adhesive achieves full strength within 24 hours. So if you have ever noticed me when I'm working, especially when I want to, I don't know, I call it laminating, but basically it's when you want to gum your stiffener to your leather or your fabric, I like to apply like a smooth, like a very thin layer on both surfaces before I now put the two together. So I'm just following instruction here. It's the people that made it that are telling me what to do. So I'm going to put links to the different types, different makes. I think I've seen some on Amazon, even AliExpress. Then here in Nigeria, we call it Evo Stick. I think I've even seen one, they call it Echo Stick. I don't know where that name comes from, but it has different names. But this is just to clear the air that they are all the same. The name comes from the fact that you're going to put it on two surfaces before you put them together. And if you are working with your stiffeners, this is just a warning because I've suffered this in the past. So basically, even though it feels dry, people tend to drop their guard and just put it together. But if you're working with a stiffener that is paper-based, like fiberboard, chipboard, you can check this link on the different types of stiffeners, but most of them are actually paper-based. I think only a few of them are like foams or other type of rubber materials or rubberized materials. But if your leather or your synthetic leather or whatever material that you want to fuse with your stiffener, once they touch, and if you have pressed it in, like really smoothened it out, the chances that you should be able to remove your stiffener is very slim, except you didn't put enough gum. But if you put enough contact adhesive or contact cement and you put them together and you try to separate them, because the stiffeners are made of papers, they would either rip or just a layer is going to come off and you see like the top layer of your stiffener still fused to your material. So the reason why this type of contact adhesive is actually really popular because one, is actually affordable. Contrary to what people think that it's expensive, it's actually affordable because if you think of the fact that you can get this whole gallon for, let me like 6,000 to 7,000 naira. I'm going to put the conversion rate here, but you now have to buy this tiny stick of uhu. So imagine if you had to get uhu in this size, you're going to be spending a pretty penny. So let me see, do I have any pros and cons about contact adhesive? The other ones are they're almost the same. Okay, apart from super glue. Super glue is like, yeah, super glue is very popular, so I don't think I have to talk like a lot on that. But the pros and cons of contact adhesive, okay, one, it actually has I think I'll say a strong smell. Not smell, you know, like really harsh, like chemical, like that, when you'll be like, ooh, yeah. So whatever you call that, that thing is really strong. Like, it's affordable, yes, so, but it has like a really strong smell. But if you actually let it dry properly, at least if you give it enough time, so 24 to, I don't think it's going to be up to 48 hours, but let's just say at least 24 hours, your gum is actually going to dry out and most of the fumes are going to like evaporate, so your customer doesn't receive his or her bag smelling like gum. So another con is that if you don't know how to manage it well, it could get really messy. So there's this trick. Don't try this at home, take it outside, but there's this trick we use in the studio sometimes, especially when we don't have access to any adhesive thinner. So basically those are chemicals that you pour inside your contact adhesive when it starts to dry out. Let's say for example now you haven't finished your gum but you notice that it's drying out in the container. So sometimes we can't find these things in the market, so we now have to use petrol. So we just pour a little petrol inside and we just swirl it around and it sort of dissolves it. And that thing has saved my ass many times. Like there are days that I don't have time to go to the market and I just look inside our kegs and our gum is already drying out. And sometimes you can't really stop it. Like you can't control air. Like it always finds a way to get in, or the fumes find a way to escape. And then your gum tries to start to thicken. So you can't really help that. So sometimes we use petrol to thin it out. The only thing is that just get ready for the smell. So what we now do is after we finish our work, we just take them to like an open space to dry and really air out. Then before we ship it off to the customers, if we notice that it still kind of smells like, it still has that chemical smell, then we'll now try to mask the scent with maybe like a scented leather conditioner or any kind of leather polish. So that one tends to help with the strong smell of the gum. And lastly, to wrap this video up nicely, I'm going to put all the links to all these different types of gums I just mentioned in the description. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe this video. If I did not mention a type of gum that you are using now or you have used in the past, put a name in the comment section. Let's find out what that is. But I think apart from that, thank you for watching this video. I don't think this wasn't too long. It was a long video, I can tell. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments, thanks to the subscribers that actually reach out. Oh my god, even if I don't answer you guys like immediately or quickly, your messages mean a lot to me. Those are the things that actually keep me going and make me feel like I'm not just wasting my time and energy on YouTube. I'm happy I am actually making a positive impact on people. It's such a weird feeling. All right, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing to my channel. I will see you in my next post. Thanks. Mwah. I love you guys so much. You are the best.